Feeling stuck? Yearning for more? You're in the right place. This is Midlife Moxie with Nicole Haight, where you're going to get a weekly dose of courage, clarity, and maybe a little bit of chaos as we navigate our best chapter yet, midlife. It's a surgical procedure that you have to go through because it becomes about what you stop doing and not what you start. Courage is finally saying, I've been responsible for everyone else's emotional regulation and I'm done. Courage is admitting this marriage has been dead for years and I've been performing happiness to avoid the conversation. Courage is recognizing I built this career to prove my worth, and it's slowly been killing my soul. Courage is declaring, I've been the glue holding everyone together, and now I want to be the flame that lights up my own life. This kind of courage does not get applause, it gets pushback. And that's exactly how you know it's real. No one out there is teaching anything about nervous system survival and its patterns that have been running for so long that you probably don't even know or don't remember what safety really feels like. Because when you think of safety and that tied in with boundaries, your heart races not because you're weak, but because your nervous system remembers every time you were punished for having needs as a child. When you consider disappointing someone, your chest may tighten, not because you lack courage, but because your body holds a cellular memory of love being conditional on your performance. When you imagine saying no to an obligation, anxiety may flood your system, not because you're a coward, but because your nervous system has been wired to interpret disappointing others as a threat to your survival. None of these are character flaws. They're all intelligent designs in how our bodies were created. Your nervous system has been protecting you the only way it knew how. So courage isn't overriding these responses. Courage is honoring them while making conscious choices anyway. Let me give you a backstory on courage that showed up for me in my life. This was around 3 years ago at the time of recording this. And I was living the most successful yet suffocating life that you could imagine. I had some good benefits. I had a pretty nice paycheck, a career that had been in the making for over 25 years, respected in my field and knowledgeable. I was the go-to to be the problem solver within the organization that I worked with at the time. So from the outside, I looked like the poster child for female achievement. But inside, I was dying by the minute. You see, my mother had passed away suddenly, and this did not give me a gentle awakening about life. It gave me a full-on experience of life being precious. I revolted against the performance that I had been giving for decades. I was working for people in a company who saw me as a productivity machine. I lost trust in an entire industry that demanded everything that I had to offer, but gave me nothing in return. And on the side, personally, I was watching my father's own health deteriorate while I was spending long hours every day making other people wealthy, primarily white older men. So the courageous thing, according to everything that I had ever been taught, would be just to push through, be grateful, stay strong. And instead, I did the thing that terrified my nervous system the most. I walked away from everything I had built to chase something with no guarantee, this business. But I look back and it wasn't reckless of me to do that. It was probably the most intelligent thing that my nervous system had ever guided me to do. My body had been screaming the truth for years. I just finally got brave enough to listen. That's courage in midlife. not impulsive, informed, not dramatic, strategic, and not performing for applause, but done for survival. So let's talk about your fear being sacred intelligence. Because I ask you, what are you actually afraid of? Fears aren't obstacles to overcome. They're just your body's way of protecting you and protecting what matters most. So let's say you're afraid of financial insecurity. Your nervous system knows that you've interrupted your career for caregiving, that you've been underpaid compared to the men in your company, industry, or organization, or that starting over at 50 is different than starting over at 25. This fear is intelligent. It's protecting your future. Or maybe you're afraid of being alone. Your nervous system knows that disappointing people might mean you lose relationships, or that your authenticity might cost you community, or maybe even being real might leave you isolated. So this fear is protecting your belonging. Or maybe you're afraid that you've wasted time. I hear this a lot. Your nervous system knows when it's given decades to proving your worth through performance and that you can't get those years back. That change feels both urgent and impossible. So this fear is protecting your remaining time. Or maybe you're afraid of your own desires. This is a big one, and this comes up a lot. I just was actually even having a conversation on a social media platform today about this, not knowing what you do for fun anymore. Your nervous system knows that wanting things for yourself was dangerous in your family system, that your needs were inconvenient, and that your desires didn't matter as much as everyone else's. So this fear is protecting you from disappointment. And these fears are not your enemies. They're just an inner wisdom to keep you safe. Courage isn't in bulldozing through them. Courage is in thanking them for their service and then making conscious choices anyway. So how do we build our courage muscle within our own bodies? This isn't really strengthening a muscle per se, but you're creating a system inside of you that is strong enough to hold your authentic responses. First thing is, I ask you to give this a try. It's a sacred pause practice. And it's not too complicated, and I think you can remember this. Before any courageous action, pause for 90 seconds. This isn't about hesitating to give an answer, but it's about consulting within your body and using its wisdom. Maybe you put your hand on your chest and take a breath deep into your belly. And when you have that feeling of fear or just that knowing, ask yourself, what is my nervous system trying to tell me right now? And maybe you'll get a message back. This is growth. Your fear is just about the newness, not the danger. So move forward. Or sometimes you get a message, hey, this is about performance for you. And you're about to betray yourself to avoid conflict. Step back. Your body knows the difference between expansion fear and survival fear. Trust it. Now, we've talked about boundaries and the word no, but I think this goes hand in hand with this message, and I think we need to hit on it yet again as a reminder, because you've been saying no to things for years. Or maybe you've wanted to say no in your mind for years and you haven't. You've overridden that response. So if you're the one that doesn't know how to say no, this is yet another reminder that this needs to be part of your vocabulary. Think about it. A position that made your stomach tighten when you were asked. That was your body's message to say no. Or maybe a social obligation that felt heavy when you put it on your calendar. Again, another message from your body. No. Or maybe a relationship dynamic that made you feel small every time you engaged with this person or this group. Again, your body was saying no. So courage isn't about saying yes to everything that scares you. Sometimes the most courageous thing is honoring your body's message of no. So let's practice disappointment tolerance, because this is real-time courage and training. Building your tolerance for disappointing people, and start small. Maybe it's not responding to a text immediately because you know that this person wants instant access to you. Or maybe it's not answering a voicemail until the next day when you're ready to have that conversation. And then when you do some small no's and small gestures, you can move up to maybe a medium level. Saying no to the favor of that person who's always asking you to do something for them. And simply just saying no without giving a dissertation explaining why you're not available. And once you do a few medium steps, then you might want to graduate to a bigger step. Stop trying to manage other people's emotions when they don't get their way. Let them have their tantrum. Let them act like a toddler. You don't need to justify it, and you don't need to meddle in it. That's a them problem, not a you problem. Each time you disappoint someone and you survive it, and you will, you're giving your nervous system evidence that you can exist without constant approval. This is courage architecture. Real courage is not about overriding your body's wisdom. And I've said it before, and I will say it again. It is about liberating your nervous system from survival mode so that your authentic responses can emerge and you can feel safe in saying no to what isn't important to you or yes to what is important to you. When your nervous system feels safe, courage becomes automatic. You don't have to force yourself to set boundaries because they become natural expressions of your integrity. You don't have to psych yourself up to speak your truth because it becomes impossible to stay silent when something matters. You don't have to manufacture bravery to disappoint people. You start caring more about your authenticity than their comfort. This is all courage as liberation, not performance. This is bravery that comes from your body, not your mind. So let's go through a couple different stages of courage liberation. Stage 1 is the recognition courage. This is the bravery that you have within yourself to see your patterns without flinching. To admit maybe that you've been giving performances instead of really living authentically. to acknowledge that your strength has become a survival strategy. Stage 2 is the release courage, the bravery to let go of the performance that's been keeping you safe. To disappoint people who've benefited from your self-abandonment, or to grieve the life you've built on other people's expectations. Stage 3 is the reclamation courage. This is bravery to trust your authentic desires over external validation from others. To fully believe that your needs matter as much as everyone else's. To choose yourself even when it feels selfish. Embodiment courage. The bravery to live differently in real time and in real relationships. To interrupt your patterns mid-conversation. To stay present with discomfort instead of managing and shooing it away. Step 5, sustainability courage. The bravery to keep choosing yourself even when others push back. To maintain your authentic responses when the pressure to perform returns. To trust that this is a new way of being and it's worth protecting. What does this look like in real-time scenarios? This may be telling your adult child that you won't be managing their crisis anymore because you're tired of being their emotional dumping ground. Or ending a relationship or a friendship that's been one-sided for years because you finally value your energy more than their comfort. Or admitting maybe to a failed marriage or romantic relationship that's maybe just in performance and it's not working for you. And now you want to remember and have authentic love in your life and reminding yourself of what that feels like. These aren't selfish. These are all sacred responses. And it's your body finally feeling safe enough to tell you the truth. This week, I am giving you an assignment to practice courage liberation. Pick an area of your life where maybe you've been overriding your body's wisdom to avoid conflict or maybe even disappointment. Before you take any action, though, do the 90-second pause. Ask your body, what have you been trying to tell me about the situation? And listen to what your body is responding. And then, and this is where the courage comes in, honor what your body is telling you, even if it disappoints someone else. Don't make the phone call that your body dreads, or don't attend the event that makes your chest tight. Don't agree to the favor that feels heavy in your stomach. None of these are avoidance. They're all in alignment for you. And this is courage in your own body as liberation. You don't need to feel the fear and do it anyway. You need to feel the fear, understand its intelligence, honor its protection, and then make conscious choices from a place of safety within your own personal body. Sometimes that means doing the scary thing, or sometimes it means not doing it. The courage is in the consciousness, not the action. So let me remind you that you're not weak, you're not behind, you're not broken. You're just a woman whose nervous system has been running in survival patterns for so long, it's forgotten what authentic courage really feels like. The bravery that you need for your life and your body isn't some foreign concept that you have to develop. It's the return to your body's wisdom. It's trusting your nervous system's intelligence instead of overriding it. Fear is not the enemy. It's just your courage trying to communicate with you. Hesitation isn't weakness. It's just your body scanning for safety before you take action. And your body giving you a no response isn't cowardice. It's just your inner wisdom protecting what matters most. This is courage as liberation in your body. This is bravery that honors your body instead of betraying it. And this is where real courage begins. So until next time, remember, fear is sacred intelligence. Your body's wisdom is more reliable than your own mind's performance anxiety. And the most courageous thing that you can do is maybe just disappointing people who've been counting on you to self-abandon. This is courage as liberation, not performance. Before you go, I want to make sure that you know how to stay connected to this work, because what we have talked about today, this is just the beginning. If you're sitting there thinking, holy shit, she just described my entire life, and you want to know exactly what patterns are running the show in your life, I've created something specifically for you. You can head on over to my website, www.nicolehaight.com, and take the assessment, which sacred pattern is running your midlife. It's a free diagnostic tool that will tell you exactly where you are in your own conditioning and what your next steps should be. There's no fluff, no generic advice, just precise information about your specific patterns. Because here's the thing, you can't interrupt what you can't see. And most women are trying to change their lives without understanding the deeper nervous system conditioning that is actually driving their choices. If you want to dive deeper into these conversations and connect with other women who are also done performing their way through life, you can join my private Facebook group. Link will be in the show notes. And it's where we have conversations, real, raw, unfiltered truth about women in midlife. And if you want to be on my VIP list for weekly doses of truth that maybe help keep you accountable to your own transformation, there is a link in the show notes, but there's also a link at my website, www.nicolehaight.com, where you can sign up to be on my email list. This isn't a typical newsletter filled with tips and inspiration, though I do include that from time to time. This is a newsletter where I share hard truths, insights, raw, unfiltered things that are just not socially acceptable on social media. And these awarenesses that you can take away from what I share can be a catalyst for change. So I invite you to sign up. And if you're ready to go even deeper, because you might be tired of all of this surface level work and you really want a whole system level transformation, everything you need to know about working with me is on my website, www.nicolehaight.com. I'm not a coach, and this isn't coaching, and it's not therapy. And it's sure as hell not spiritual bypassing. This is a resurrection of the nervous system. And this is for the woman who is ready to stop performing and start living. You can also follow me on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at I am Nicole Haight, where I share reminders about conditioning and women and midlife, confronting truths, and desires that are just frankly not up for negotiation. So next week, we will continue to have discussions that likely will make some of you squirm. It is what I'm best at. But if this episode shifted something for you, do me a favor and leave a review. Not because I need an ego boost, but because there are women out there who are Googling, why do I feel invisible in my own life at 2 a.m.? And your review might be what helps them find this podcast. Your review could also be the breadcrumb that leads another woman out of performance prison and into her own resurrection. So until next week, remember, you don't need permission to want what you want. You never did. That was just conditioning dressed up as consideration. You're a woman in midlife. You don't need permission. You just need to have desires and wants and the ability to go after all of them. So stop asking and start claiming.